but she had no idea what public access television was. She didn't care to know. It was just, it was just disgustingly outrageous. I mean, just, and this is the, you know, like I said, you see this coming out of judges, and you're saying, well, how can they get away with this? I mean, isn't there something to stop them from just breaking the law? I mean, they have to deal with these issues. They have to write decisions. That's what the fucking judges are for. So it was just, that was insane. So I said, I'm taking that one to federal court then. Fuck it. I'm going to sue that fucking judge. And I knew I couldn't do that because they have immunity, but I figured I'm going to do it anyway. And, you know, the public access issue will be part of it. So then I filed my first federal case over the fact that, yeah, I wasn't getting any justice in New Jersey, so I needed to go to the feds to say, give me some fucking justice, because this public access TV is federal law, and so impose the federal law on this fucking law-breaking state. And so the first judge threw it in the garbage. He just didn't even wait for them for the other side to file their papers. He just threw it, dismissed it. No decision, no statement, just dismissed it. And so just took my $250 or whatever it cost. It's getting more. It's really, the price is almost doubled to file a lawsuit, which is really tough too. But anyway, and it's like, fuck. So I said, well, fuck that shit. And I put his name on the complaint then. I said, I'm going to sue the fucking federal judge too then. I'll put his name on the damn papers and I'll refile him again. And so I did. And the second judge wised up because he knew the next step was me taking to an appeals court, and they're going to have to explain why 2 federal judges dismissed cases without any argument, without any explanation whatsoever. I mean, you can't do that. You have to say something on there. So anyway, and I have to concede that the second federal judge, I mean, he wrote 20 or 30 pages worth of crap about why judges have immunity and all this shit. Well, not even why, but just the fact that they do, and that the 10th and the 11th Amendments really mean this and this and this, and they don't mean what they say. And but anyway, he wrote a decision, so at least I got a decision. It's full of shit, it's nonsense, but it was a decision, so that was, to me, at least something of merit. So anyway, and so then from there was a little case I had against this other racket that was being run by government employees union. They were having an idea contest, they called it, and it's called sliced bread or something, but it turned into such a racket. I mean, the fix was in right from the start, and about what ideas were going to win the contest. And so, you know, there was hundreds of, there were at least thousands, 70,000, 80,000 ideas submitted. So there's a lot of people that were fooled into thinking it was a legitimate contest, and the ideas that won were basically Democratic Party, you know, they're very, you know, 10-year-old ideas submitted, you know, in campaign speeches by Democratic candidates. I mean, it was grotesquely politically slanted, and so it was just overtly dishonest. So anyway, I sued them, and that judge threw it out without any argument either. You know, it's just, that's what they do with pro se litigation. And I filed that in Washington, D.C., and so I had every expectation that those judges be the worst in the country, and they were, so I didn't pursue it. It's just way too expensive to fight for your litigation. You know, I mean, it costs you a fortune to get into court, but it really gets expensive when you start appealing. Really expensive. And it's a lot of paperwork, too. Appeals, you know, you had to provide copies of every piece of paper it filed and all this stuff, and you got 12 copies, and it's really a nightmare. So anyway, so I just let that slide. I said, oh, fuck it. You know, there's no justice in America. And so then we get to YouTube. Then I start doing this YouTube thing. And so I guess the only case that's really relevant, or the point is important, this is going on forever. I'll have to post this somewhere else. But anyway, oh, jeez. Okay. It's the troll shit. You know, I mean, I've had experience with these malicious little fuckers who'll sit there and invade your privacy and all this shit. So I get on YouTube, and what happens? You know, I get to a fight with somebody, and all of a sudden my name and address is everywhere again. It's the same old bullshit. You know, now all of a sudden they're taking clips of my videos and fucking with them. It's the same bullshit tactics. The fucking ballless, you know, weasels that can't have a fair fight. They lose the argument, and so then they go after you personally. And it's just the same blueprint on YouTube. And so, yeah, there's people that just, that's okay with them, but it's not okay with me. And so you're going to, you know, you're going to fuck me, I'm going to fuck you back. It's just that simple, I guess, part of it. But there's a principle here. I just think it's nonsense and bullshit. So I'm almost too tired to even go into the whole, you know, copyright case law. But obviously Peach doesn't know anything about the case law. And so she's just talking out of her ass, and her ass has been dictated by what, you know, DPR Jones or Thunderfoot, a few other people might say they think is the way things should be, but it has nothing to do with the actual case law, because there isn't any case law. And she doesn't even understand DMCA's, what the legal requirements are when you file them. And I'd say even DPR Jones has been pretty ignorant in the past on that subject. I don't think anybody's appreciating the fact that what a DMCA should not be filed unless you intend to take the person to court. If you don't have that intention when you file it, it's a false claim, even if you're, Viacom or something. I mean, it's not the purpose of the law to be used as some threat tool. It's a tool of promise. I'm going to sue you unless you cease and desist, is what it basically is. It's a cease and desist notice, and it has to be backed with legal action. If you don't intend to do the legal action thing, you have no right to file one. And so all mine have been legitimately filed, as every person who filed a counter notice I did name in a lawsuit. So I had every intention of suing anybody I filed one against. So it's just so rude to the truth for these assholes to throw the words false DMCA around as if they're all equal and they're all the same. They're not. They're being filed against videos for different reasons and with different intents, and not to appreciate that or make those distinctions is just weasel shit. It's just complete bullshit. And so the straight dope one is the one that gets the attention people are focused on, but they'll ignore all the previous bullshit, all the doc dropping, all the videos where people just took my content and turned it upside down and had me puke in my own ass and whatever else bullshit went on. They'll ignore all of that context and just focus on that. And I made it explicitly clear when I filed that DMCA that it was only because of his attitude that I filed it. I mean, he was technically, in my opinion, in violation of the law. And yes, the violation is only a technical one. It's not an egregious, horrific violation, but it was just his fucking attitude that he's claiming he has the fucking right, and I'm claiming he doesn't have that fucking right. And so to me, it was a good case. It was a good person to sue, just because he was so aggressive in his claims of rights. And so that should be the person you fight. You should fight with the person who's the most arrogant and obnoxious and defiant in making the argument that they have a right to do what they're doing. There's little purpose in suing somebody who claims ignorance of the law or is just being an asshole and admit being an asshole. This asshole, straight dope, is claiming that he has the fair use right to do what he did. And so to me, it was a good argument. It was a good case to make the argument out of. But whatever. Like I said, if the peach is too stupid to remember a few months earlier when there was videos of me, all kinds. Well, whatever. I'm not even going to go into it. But it's just, fuck that bullshit. So yeah, I'm not going to get into all this copyright done videos on these copyright issues. We've argued it to death. It needs a legal decision. There's the case law that's out there is shit. You got this 2 Live Crew decision where it was just completely insane. I mean, I don't even know if they could ever apply it again, right? So some guys get to steal the song Pretty Woman and call it Hairy Woman, and that's okay, But YouTube can't play clips from South Park. I mean, the contradictions are just too grotesque to even try to match that 2 Live Crew case to anything, because that was just like, well, what do you mean? You mean people aren't going to recognize the tune Pretty Woman? I mean, come on. So I mean like I said, whatever. There's no way to make any sense out of that case. They're making money. They've stolen the content. All they've done is changed a few lyrics, and somehow that's legal. It just but somebody can't sing a Beatles song on a YouTube video. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, and then you got the Falwell case, which isn't really a copyright case. And then there's an old 1950 whatever New York Times case that is really old for copyright claims in the digital age. It really doesn't have any relevance to the modern era. So you don't have much case law out there, and so there needs to be some case law written. And for somebody to argue otherwise, I think that's just stupid. So let's write it. Let's get it done. Let's put it on the table and find out if we actually have if we actually own our YouTube videos, and if we have a right to produce derivatives as the owners, or whether other people get the derivative, our work to pieces. Who owns it? I think it's important. So yeah, enough of a video. It's probably an hour. So whatever.